Hey guys, welcome to Camel's Digital Art Workshop. My name is Alina, aka Artsy Alina, and yeah, we are here today. We are going to paint and recreate this particular painting over here, which is done by me. And for this painting, I'll be using Camel's artist products. The first thing that I'm going to use is Camel's artist acrylic paints. The second ones are the Camel's artist brushes, and I'll be using the Camel stretch canvas. Is that fine? So before we move forward, let's learn about the painting. First, how we're going to go about it, right? So as you can see, the painting is divided into 6 sections, and each section has its own color and pigments, correct? So first we will divide our canvas into 6 sections. So for that you'll be needing a scale. I'm using Camlin scale and a pencil. So whatever canvas shape you have, if you have a square canvas or if you have a round canvas, no worries, just look at the screen first and then we'll go about it. Okay, so just measure the length of your canvas. Mine is 20 centimeters, and mark a midpoint of all 4 sides. And if you're using a round canvas, measure the diameter and get a center point. We'll start from the bottom part. Okay, so here we will be needing a viridian hue. Then second hue we'll be needing is deep magenta, and third we'll be using sap green. These are the 3 colors that we'll be using for the backgrounds here. And so I'm using Camel's artist brushes. I'm using brush number 7 and size 6. Okay, so I'm just dipping my brush into water, using viridian hue, but as you can see the shades are very light here, so we will add white to it, correct? So I'm using white as well, and white I will be using in the ratio of 1:3. So if you are taking teal color or turquoise shade, take it in a ratio of 1 and take white in the ratio of 3. You also need to have black shade, a tinge of black only, okay? Don't put a lot of black. Just try to avoid going above this line, okay? And if you are not very much handy with it, you can always use a masking tape, okay? I'm avoiding that. You all can use if you need, okay? Shades get dry. Meanwhile, we will start working on the top 3 parts, and for those 3 parts we will be needing again new colors. We are using lemon yellow, scarlet red of 3:1, very little, okay, and the third shade will be of course white. Okay, so for this particular part I have used lemon yellow, scarlet red and white in the ratio 3:1:5, okay. So if you are taking 1 parts of scarlet red, take 3 parts of red and 5 parts of white, okay. So I'm making another shade using cobalt blue and white. Take out your cobalt blue, it will be in ratio of 1:2. The last section, that is this one, okay. So here I already have a ready-made shade called portrait pink, okay, and if you don't have portrait pink with you, you can always make your own by mixing scarlet red or crimson red with white. So I'm using portrait pink directly. On the reference painting, we have the mountains in the foreground, correct? So the rare mountains, as you can see, there are 2 groups of mountains, correct? The rare mountains, and the second group are the mountains which are close by, okay? So we are first painting the rare mountains because they are in the background almost and midground. So for that we will be using viridian hue directly from the tube without mixing any other color, and for the mid section we are using deep magenta, and if you have purple you can use that directly from the tube. And for the third color I'll let you know when we do it, okay. I'm using a flat brush of size 2, okay. start making random lines. Crimson Lake, and I'm adding cobalt blue, very little, in the ratio of 3:1, and black. Where we left the purple mountain, just try to continue from there, and I'm moving little upwards and then again going down. Cool. Moving on to the second group of mountains, that are the nearby ones, the second ones. So here again we are making shades. The shades will be, the first shade will be Viridian hue with your burnt sienna, okay, in the ratio of 2:1 again, taking this color and making mountains again. Second shade by using deep magenta in the ratio of 1:2 with burnt sienna again, okay. Now moving on to the next part. So I'm using crimson red with burnt sienna and little black, very little. Now moving on to the third layer, there are little background grasses, okay. So for that, use the same shades, just add a pinch of black color to it. I'm taking black aside and I'm adding black to them that we just made for the foreground mountains. Keep adding black. Just make a darker shade. And how you're going to use your brush? Use it vertically this time. Hold it this way and put it like this and dab it on your canvas, okay. I'll show you. Comes the tree part, okay. So we are going to make the tree trunk somewhere here, exactly in the middle of the mid part, okay. So for that I'm using black directly without using any other color to it. Moving on to the branches part, just imagine if there's a triangle over here. You can also draw it. I'm drawing for your sake. Very light handy. My small brush of size 6. Okay. Just take your brush and tap it on the table or any solid surface. Tap it very hardly and harshly. For this particular part, we are using black directly, okay. For the second one, here we will be using black with our scarlet red, okay. So I'm taking out scarlet red and mixing it with black. Cobalt blue a lot in the ratio of 3:1. Okay, I'm using black. Next part we are covering with permanent yellow deep with black. Okay. Fill it, and the last part will be sap green with black. Okay, so I'm using sap green, I already have here, and I'm adding black to it. Now moving on to the second layer for the leaves, but before that we will make the branches, and for branches I'm using black directly. So for second layering I'm using filbert brush of size 2 and taking out Viridian hue directly from the tube and using it. Okay. And now, while working with a filbert brush, always make sure you work in a C manner, okay, downward C, something like that. Whenever you are working, just work like this. Look at my hands, how I am moving them. And for the next layer, I am using the same filbert brush, cleaning it out and wiping it nicely, and I'm dipping it into scarlet red. As you can see on the reference painting, we need scarlet red. Now start working in a C manner, okay, this way. For the third part, we are using sap green with our lemon yellow. Okay, sap green with lemon yellow in the ratio of 2:1. Mix them. For the next part, we will be using permanent yellow deep directly from the tube. Don't mix any other color to it. Now for the fourth one, we will be using sap green only. Okay. Okay, so meanwhile the top layers are getting dry, we'll work on the bottom ones. We'll start painting the grass. Okay. And for that again I'm using filbert brush. Dip your filbert brush in Viridian hue with little yellow to it. Now for the second part, we are using lemon yellow with orange. Okay. For the third part, using permanent yellow deep again, but this time I'm not mixing it with yellow. Instead, I'm mixing it with scarlet red. I'm using a pointed brush, round brush in size 2 to make the grass, dipping it in the water. And for this part, I'm using Viridian hue with a lot of white. For the second part, we are using lemon yellow with white. Now, next part, I'm using orange with white. I'm not adding any yellow, orange and white. Now we are done with the bottom almost. Just going to add few details to the tree trunk. For that I'm using yellow and orange together. I'm using scarlet red and little crimson red, and now I'm putting this on top of this layer. And for the sap green part as well, and use sap green with yellow, but this time I'm using more of lemon yellow. Orange part, again I'm using orange directly from the tube, and again I'm using yellow to it. Okay, very little, keep adding, cover the top parts mostly. Okay, cool. Now for the next part, we are using desaturated by adding scarlet red, a little, very little. Now we are only left with this part. There we are using Viridian hue with yellow. And yes, if you are painting along with me, or if you are planning to recreate any other time, make sure whenever you complete it, whenever you finish it, make sure to tag us on your stories with Camlin and Alina too. Also, if you have missed any part of this particular section, you can check it on YouTube, it will be available. So thank you for joining in for today. I hope I have not taken a lot of your time.